Okay, so for a warm-up, I asked you to go back to Algebra 2 and remember what a sine graph looked like and what a cosine graph looked like. And we're going to focus on the 4 poles of the coordinate grid. So the 0, the pi over 2, the 3/2 pi, pi, 3/2 pi, and 2 pi. Okay? Because those are easy coordinates, right? We're going to focus on those ones. What is the highest value when we do the hand trick that either cosine or sine would be? What's the highest? 1, it would be the highest, right? Because I would have the square root of 4 over 2, which is 2 over 2, which is 1. What would the lowest be? It would be -1, right? Depending on if it was above or below the x-axis. Everyone okay with that? So my max would be 1, my minimum would be -1, okay? And then we have 0 is at 0, right? So we are going to focus on pi over 2, pi, 3/2 pi. I didn't leave myself enough room. And then 2 pi would be out here, right? So at 0, that means my thumb is down. What is sine? Do I have any fingers up on the sine side? No, so it's going to be 0. At pi over 2, which is 90, okay, I have 4 fingers up. The square root of 4 is 2 divided by 2 is how much? How much? It is 1. So at pi over 2, it's at 1, right? Okay, and then it's going to dip back down to 0, and then it's going to hit at -1. So it looks like this, yes? And you guys, I saw some of you drew the other side, which would go like, sorry, I'm just rough hand. Yes? So that's sine. Everyone good? The key to sine is it goes through the origin, okay? Good? Okay, so now let's look at cosine, doing the same thing. Cosine, we're going to do pi over 2, pi, 3/2 pi, 2 pi, because these are the 4 poles. I know it's 5 numbers, but 0 and 2 pi are the same pole, same axes. Okay, and then I'm going to do 1/2, 1 whole, -1/2, -1. Okay, good? All right, at 0 on the cosine side, how many fingers do I have up? 4. The square root of 4 is? Divided by 2 is? 1. So at 0, cosine is 1. Okay? At pi over 2, how many fingers are up on the cosine side? 0. And then we're going to dip down to -1 and then back up to 0. So it looks like that, yes? Some people say that cosine looks like 2 teacups or a W. That's a good one. I've seen the cup for cosine. Okay? Everyone good? Okay? Yes. How did I get 1? Okay, so 0 degrees. Put my thumb down. How many fingers are up? So it's all based on that unit circle that we filled in. We're just plotting x and y. Square root of 4 is 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay? So I focus just on where it hits here, 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 here. I focus just on those ones, the easy ones. We're not going to do the pi over 6. We're just going to fill those ones in, okay? All right. So now, if you would go ahead and copy this down, okay? And don't be scared. This is true for every equation you've studied. Quadratics look like this, linear functions look like this, exponential functions look like this when we talk about transformation. Don't tell me you hate this. I'm going to try to make it simple and easy, okay? I know. Shh. Okay, here we go. Let's start with A. Shh. A is the amplitude. Okay? That's my rise above and below the 0 line. All right? If there's a negative out front, it means there's a reflection. Okay? All right, this can be sine or cosine. Let's go to C. Okay? That is my phase shift. If it's positive, which way do I go? Left. Remember, my X is crazy. Okay? And if it's minus, I move right. This is my vertical displacement. And it's not with X, so it's not crazy. If it's positive, it's which way? Up. Because vertical jump, negative is down. Okay, this is my period. If nothing's listed, it's 2 pi. Otherwise, it is 2 pi over whatever B is. Okay? And that would be this is a stretch / shrink. And because it's with X, it's the opposite. So if it's a big number, it shrinks. If it's and it's the width. This is for the width. How wide or skinny my graph is. Okay? And this is a stretch or shrink up or down. X is a variable X. Okay? Are we good? 2 pi over B. So if there is no B, the period is a normal unit circle. It's 2 pi, which we love. And we're going to get into what we do when it's not, okay? B does. And this, so it stretches or shrinks the width. The amp stretches, shrinks the height. So this is my vertical stretch. This is my horizontal stretch. And remember, horizontal is opposite. So if it's a big number, it really shrinks it. If it's a small number, it elongates it. Okay? This is true. So if it's a big number, stretches. If it's a small number, it shrinks. Small number meaning a number, well, if the number's smaller than the initial number. Okay? Ignoring the sign. We ignore the sign, okay? Amplitude is just the A value. All right, so why is this important? Okay, so remember I told you we're going to focus on the 4 poles, the 4 axes, right? So that is 0. The next one is at what? What's the next pole at? Pi over 2. 1/2, yep. And the next one? 1 pi. And the next one? Down below. So we went boom, boom, boom. What's this one? 3/2 pi, and the last one is 2 pi to complete the circle, right? Each pole is worth a half because there are 4 poles that total 2, and 2 divided by 4 is a half. Everyone with me? Technically 2 pi. All right. Now, I forgot to mention something on the last screen. Go back. This also gives me my 0. Okay? My 0 line. All right. So in this particular problem, what is my 0? 5. To get the max, I add the amp. So I'm going to do 5 plus 3 and get 8. And if max is add the amp, then min is subtract the amp. And I get 5 minus 3 is 2. All right. Now, we didn't discuss this. I went a little out of order. I'm sorry. So this is the graph of sine, yes? Math is nothing more than pattern. If you can break down the code or the pattern, you can do anything in math. Math is very logical. So when I look at the pattern, it starts at the 0, then it goes to a, so it's 0, then it's max, then it goes to 0, then it goes to min. Always, 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 sine is 0, max, 0, min. 0, max, 0, min. Okay? Now, my 0 is my 0. What is 0? Oh, sorry. Let's just write this down. 0, max, 0, min, 0. I just took the pattern, wrote it down the right-hand side. My left-hand side will always be the poles unless there's a phase shift. No phase shift, so it's going to be the 4 poles, the 4 axes. You with me? Well, 4 pieces of the 2 axes. Okay, so the 0 is how much? The max, the 0, the min, the 0. And then I would just plot those points. Done. Graphing shouldn't be difficult. You plot these ordered pairs. I don't know. Okay? Good? All right. Before I go to the next screen, we're going to travel backwards for a second. This was the graph of cosine, yes? This is the graph of cosine, yes? Okay. Can someone state the cosine pattern? Max, 0, min, 0, and then back to max, yes? Okay. Everyone good? So you want to know the 2 patterns. Okay? All right. Which you guys should have no problem with because most of you quickly sketched the graph of sine and cosine. You had that memorized, so you're good. All right. So I'm giving you 2 practice problems. I would like you to come up with the 0, the max, and the min for both of these. For those 2 equations. What's the 0 value? What's the max value? What's the min? We're not doing the table yet. Okay, so let's start with the 0. What's the 0? -7. The max, the vertical displacement is your 0 line, right? Because if I plug in a 0 here, this cancels and it puts me at -7, yeah? Okay, so the max is -7 plus 1. It's understood if there's not a number, the number is 1. So -7 plus 1, -6. And -7 minus 1, -8. Now, there is no phase shift. So that means that this is going to be 0, pi over 2, pi, 3/2 pi, and 2 pi, but hold on, I'm making room, 2 pi. Okay? The pattern for cosine is max, 0, min, 0, max. Yes? Okay, what is my what's my max value? -6, 0, -7, min, -8, 0, -7, and back to max, -6. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ordered pairs that I could now map on the paper. And that would give me this side of a coordinate grid. And you can just reflect it to get the other side, right? Because they're symmetrical. They're beautiful. They're symmetrical. Okay, so what is the 0 in this one? 1. The max, 5, and the minimum, 3. There is no phase shift, so 0, pi over 2, pi, 3/2 pi, 2 pi, okay? And the pattern for cosine is right here, max, 0, min, 0, max. And if you'll go ahead and tell me what's the max again? 5 followed by a 1 followed by a 3, then a 1, and then back to 5, yes? Everyone good? Awesome. Okay, I have 2 more practice problems for you. Now this time, I want all of this done. Okay, I want the table. Yes, sir. You are absolutely correct. Y minus 4 is -3. Thank you for catching that. -3. Sorry. Somebody might have said negative and I didn't hear it. Thank you for catching it. Good? Everyone see why it's -3? Because it started at 1. 1 minus 4 is -3. Good? Okay. Awesome. Try these two. Okay. So this one's reflected, which means your min is going to be bigger than your max. Okay? So my amp is 3, but I'm going to use the negative to help me figure out the max and the min. So let's start with the 0. What's my 0? 8. And then 8 plus a -3 is 5. And then 8 minus a -3 is 11, okay? This is important for the pattern to work. So 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 halves pi, and 2 pi. And it is sine, so it's 0 max, 0 min, 0. Okay? 8 minus a -3. Okay? So it's going to be a positive 11. All right, 0 is 8. Max is going to be 5. Then 8, then 11, then 8 again. Now, in your brain, you're going, wait a second, why is the min bigger than the max? It's because it's reflected, okay? But we have to calculate it this way because the pattern for sine is always 0 max, 0 min. Good? All right. So let's look over here. What is my 0? -5. My max, -3, and my min is going to be -7. Okay, it is cosine, which means it's going to be max, 0, min, 0, max. There is no phase shift, so 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 halves pi, and then 2 pi. Okay, and I get -3, -5, -7, -5, -3. Everyone okay with that? Okay, so we have covered a vertical displacement, which means the graph has shifted the 0 line away from 0 to a new location. And then we've covered the amplitude changing, so the spacing from the 0 line. All right, if there is no phase shift or period change, then this is going to always be the left-hand side of my table. Okay, it's going to be the 4 poles. Okay, that's as long as there's not a phase shift and there's not a period change. We are now going to talk about what happens when there's a phase shift. Very little changes. We're still going to use our pattern, okay? All right. So here is a problem that has a phase shift, okay? But let's start with what is my 0? And my max and my min, 1, okay? And it is sine, so what's the pattern? 0, max, 0, min, 0. Great. So I can fill in the right hand with no problem. I can't touch the left side yet because there's a phase shift. So when I plug this in, I should have 3, 5, 3, 1, 3. Any questions with that? Okay, that's not new. That's what we've been doing the past couple screens. Okay, the phase shift is a minus pi over 2. So am I going to add pi over 2 or subtract it? Add it, because my x is crazy. I always do the opposite. So to my x value, I'm going to add pi over 2. So instead of 0, it's now going to be pi over 2. And pi over 2 plus pi over 2 is 1 pi. And pi plus pi over 2, 1 plus a half is 3 halves, okay? 1 and a half plus a half is 2. And the last one is 5 over 2 pi. So that's the only difference. It changes your x. So we still start with the 0, the pi over 2, and then we add the phase shift or subtract it based on what's going on. Okay, question. So pi is 2 over 2, makes it one whole, right? When you add a whole number to a fraction, so pi plus pi over 2. Okay, I need to make this a fraction, so this would be 2 over 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 over 2 pi. Everyone good? Also, you should start to see a pattern, and you can, again, math is all patterns. You don't have to add pi over 2 every time if you start to see a pattern this way. Whatever's easiest for you. Okay? All right, we're going to practice some phase shift, and that's the last thing I'm adding to your brain today because I know you just got off a winter break. Okay? And tomorrow we're going to change the period and play with some of the other pieces of the puzzle. Okay? Can I change the screen or not yet? Question. The negative, no, it's just, remember, it's just the opposite. So whenever it's in the parentheses, when it's with x, it's the opposite. So I'm not really subtracting pi over 2, I'm adding. Because the formula is x minus something. So if I'm, yes, so if it goes to x plus, that means minus a negative. So my phase shift was a negative if this is a plus. Okay? All right, here we go. Wait, okay. Okay. So let's take a look at this one, okay? Always start with your 0, your max, and your min. I'm going to give you 15 seconds. Copy this and tell me what the 0, the max, and the min is. All right, now, the phase shift does not affect these pieces. It affects my x value. All right, my 0 is -4, my max, -1, and my minimum. Okay, it is cosine. What is the pattern for cosine? Max, 0, min, 0, max. And notice I have to abbreviate max and min. 0, I can put a Z, but because they both start with an M, I have to write them out. All right, what's the max? -1, then -4, -7, -4, -1. Right-hand side, completely done. What am I going to do to the left-hand side? I'm going to subtract pi over 4. So 0 minus pi over 4 is -pi over 4. Okay? Let me try to make this easier for you. What's a half minus a quarter? A quarter. What's a whole minus a quarter? 3/4. What's $1.50 minus a quarter? $1.25, which is 4/4. Okay? And then what is $2 minus a quarter? 7/4. Okay? I had 8 quarters. I took a quarter away because 8 quarters make $2. And now the problem is done. 7/4. Okay? Typically, when you get a grid from me, it's going to be like this is pi over 2. Sorry, woo. It will already have these ones labeled. So pi over 4 is halfway between, right? Halfway between. A quarter is halfway between, yes? Okay. Are you good? All right. So Here are 2 for you to practice, and then I'll put your, oh, sorry, I lied. 1 more for you to practice all on your own. Try to get me 0, max, min, and the table. We'll check it, and then I'll give you your homework. Okay. My 0 is 6. My max, 4. And my min, 8. Remember, it's going to be backwards because of the reflection. Okay. 0, pi over 2, pi, 3/2 pi, 2 pi. We'll adjust later. It is sine, which is 0 max, 0 min, 0. Okay, start me off. What number do I write? 6, 4, 6, 8, 6. Beautiful. What am I going to do to 0? My x is crazy. I'm going to add 3/2 pi. Okay? So this is 3 over 2 pi. What's 1/2 plus 1/2? That's 2. What's 1 plus 1/2? 2/2, which is really 5/2 pi. What's 1/2 plus 1/2? 3 pi. What is 2 plus 1/2? 3/2 pi, which is 7/2 pi. Now, if you wanted to do this as a decimal, that's fine, but when I give you the graph, it's going to be listed as fraction. Okay? So, your homework tonight is to do exactly this. Make my table, give me my 0, my max, and my min. If there is not a phase shift, then this is going to be the left-hand side. So if there's no phase shift, it's going to be 0, pi over 2, pi. You got it? All right. You have 5 homework problems. There they are.